8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Hurrah for downriver.
That's real, boy.
That's a real laugh,
That might cure your legs, maybe.
I got to teach one of these young fellas.
Peace.
So,
This is Luis Chaboya, the Presidente of Aztlan,
you've got to take a picture of my
and this is Luis's motto: communicate, facilitate, delegate, and procrastinate.
There'll be that third one. That, did you sing
One more time.
One more time.
No. Small in now. Let's go.
jump.
Hey, how, how, how,
Carla? Carla? Start videotaping the singers getting ready over there. What? The singers getting ready? Oh, yeah. Okay. Wait. We bring it.
Oh.
Well, the reason we're here is we're kind of paying a tribute to our great grandmother, and if it wasn't for her, we probably wouldn't be doing a lot of this stuff. And she had the insight to kind of try to preserve it through all different ways. A lot of people in the area, older folks now, and also anthropologists and different people like that. I think she knew that as kids we were kind of goofy, so we wouldn't pay much attention. So she did it the best way she could. And I think we're still discovering a lot of those things. You know, so it's always nice to get back and see her and do these things. You know, it's a reminder for her and what she stood for. That's basically how she did it. It's really nice.
He's filming.
No, I'm yelling, get Judith then, get Judith.
Oh, we didn't need to start getting ready.
It's really
Hello.
And that and the heritage are stored here, so if you want, you could either take them or you could keep them and put everything together at the end.
And I'm so glad that you all have the opportunity to come here today and see the art and artistry of both Frank and Cheryl Tuttle. Also like to introduce both them, Frank Tuttle here, Cheryl Tuttle here, and we'll continue on a little bit in the afternoon. The schedule of events that we have is that I'm going to go talk a little bit right now, and then we'll have the opportunity to go on a tour with the Tuttles as they explain about the exhibit, and then we'll have refreshments afterwards. So, first off, I want to acknowledge all of the people that have helped today. Number one, our superintendent Jackie Ball is here, and I really appreciate that she allows this event to occur, because this was something that wasn't ordinary and didn't happen at this museum. The other person that I want to acknowledge right off the bat is Carla Hills, because Frank may or may not be aware of this, but his painting that he has in the show here was the seminal event for this art show to even occur for the last 7 years. That Carla walked in here with that piece of artwork, and we saw that and we thought, oh, what a wonderful idea to have an annual art show here that features California Native Americans. And from that, for 7 years, we've had many different artists that have come here, and so it's as a result of the collaborative efforts of not only Frank, but I also want to acknowledge all of Carla's hard work over this year and the last 7 years that this event has occurred. So, vests who are walking around the Indian Museum here with the baskets on them, those are the volunteers here at the museum, also known as docents, and without their personal support, their dedication, and also the financial support which pays for the art show to be able to happen here, we would not be able to have this event. So very much appreciate all their time and effort and support that they've given to us, not only this year, but over the years. Thank you. So without any further ado, I'm going to let Frank go ahead and speak about his artwork, and then afterwards, if you would join us for a tour through the exhibit while he and Cheryl explain about it, or just he, if you decide to do it that way. Please be our guest with that, and after that, we'll retire to the Central Valley Regional Indian Museum wing that's over there for refreshments, and we also have refreshments outside. Okay, at about 1:30 in an hour and a half.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Tom. And, and I too, and I know that, Cheryl and Coy and Ruby would also like to acknowledge Tom and his staff, and that includes the docents, and it tends to be a mobile group of volunteers, but also Carla for her efforts that Tom had mentioned of working with the museum and creating a venue to show contemporary California art in all of its realms. And so we, as a family, particularly enjoy being able to have what my family knows is very much a part of me, my own paintings, but also our regalia. And for us, to have someone that will care for it and acknowledge and recognize it for what it is, its own being. The regalia and the paintings, it takes the sensitivity and the kind of expansive universal knowledge that Carla has and that Frank has, and also it brings something to the regalia and its sister pieces that you have in this building, and so we're very thankful for that, and always are. And Carla could always come and pick up our stuff and take it any time, because we know it's in good hands, and it's safe in that way. It knows it's safe. What we're doing today is just coming and revisiting. For me, it's a revisiting of artwork that I don't often get to see. Once it left the house, then it's found another home, and so I can come and revisit some of my pieces, which is a real joy to me. But also coming into this space. And I know that Cheryl and I and the kids, we come here and we also get inspired, and we're also able to revisit pieces that we have here from all the the wonderful baskets here, and the plega on the backside here with jump dance and deerskin dance, which is so familiar to us and to our families. But also the dresses, the Tolowa dress here, that is just such a beautiful piece, and that we admire so much. And so it's real nice for us to come and work here. Often we're on the run. We come in, take a look, and carry our inspiration as we drive back home to Ukai and talk about, ooh, isn't that nice? It's really nice to bring our materials here and be surrounded by that. In the gallery space there is a combination of a number of years of work and effort on Cheryl and I's part, and hopefully it'll be extended to the children, Coy and Ruby. The central focus of the gallery space there is that sister series. And the sister series is, for all practical purposes, paybacks. I own pieces by all those California Indian women artists. And so they have prominent places in our home and serve as inspiration. And so, much to their relief, they get their paybacks. And so there they are. And so I've worked to do that. Each one of those singular pieces that we'll talk about in a moment is specifically for that particular artist. And as I know them personally, but as I know them in their community, and also just that history that we share together as artists and as Native California peoples, in some way, sharing and bringing ourselves to an audience, to a viewing audience. Sharing our an esoteric type of knowledge at times, an artistic knowledge and perception, but also a sharing of the continuation of Native California cultures and how it can expand and how we can grow. And and so you're all very much a part of that. And so your presence here today just makes these pieces that more complete, that much more complete. And I appreciate that. What Cheryl is, what I'm working on is, and what I particularly enjoy doing, and in the gallery space here has a number of those pieces, is open work, utilitarian pieces. The material that I'm using is willow. It's either unpeeled or peeled, and you can see that they're very large, and it sort of seems pretty hectic at the moment, and at times it can get that way. And this type of work differs, from the work that Cheryl and Ruby is working on. We're using the same process. It's twining. This particular piece is a 3-strand twine. I've got 3 weavers going at one time. And this is the bottom. This is the outside. When I'm working on it, and if you happen to stop by my station, what you're seeing is the inside. This is the rough side. This is the outside, and this is the side that will turn up, and eventually all of these that are now facing down will turn up in this direction, and we'll have a work basket, a utilitarian basket. I've always really liked the texture, and I've liked the visibleness of them. I've liked the honesty of these pieces. These types of pieces here are just glorious in their final state. In these pieces, the caps and the mush bowls and cooking bowls and whatnot. We see the outside surfaces. We see that kind of embellishment. But in these open work pieces, we see the skeleton of it all. And oftentimes we're not able to touch them, not able to touch these pieces. And these pieces, to me, want to be touched. They're very tactile, and they want you to touch them. They feel very different. Those are quite flexible, and they're very light in feeling. These are just, they're tough, and they're made to be that way. That's a part of what I enjoy about them is that they are tough, and there's a real honesty in the making process, and there's a real honesty in their use. It's just like they're right there every day, underfoot, and they're utilized and they get used up. They get wear and tear. Pieces break, and then hopefully by that time, as I was telling Sharon, one of the rangers or the docents, but hopefully by then I'd have a new piece. It's just like a real workable one. Where other items like the caps are ceremonial. They're fine pieces, and they're very carefully kept. And what Koya is working on here is also an open work piece. It's a doll basket. He's working on a small size Homo style doll basket. There's one in the case toward the end of the building along this wall, a big size for the baby. And it requires willow or hazel and oak, and Koya's using cotton twine. And so he's building the setting part of it. And later on down the road, he will add the back portion. And what Cheryl and Ruby are working on is twining, the process of twining. It's closed twining. Their materials are much more flexible than mine. Spruce root is a darker material. The lighter material is bear grass, which is a mountain lily, and it's an overlay process. And they're only using 2 weavers. I'm using 3 at the moment. And willow is the stick foundation. And so in our household, when we go to gather in the springtime or go to gather in the fall, we have our projects in mind. We have an idea of what our supply stock is like. And so when we travel out to gather the materials, I'm looking for certain types, Cheryl is looking for certain types, then all the while, trying to cram all that information into the kids' heads as well. As we go and gather and are around other weavers, we're also borrowing and sharing from them. And that's something that is really akin to the sister series, is that sharing. And although they're not related by blood in that sense, there's a spiritual relationship, a cultural relationship of sisterhood there. And as weavers and makers of regalia, we also share that with sometimes the same people. And we, our environments will change from home to ceremonial grounds to other types of events. And as we go through life year by year, there are major changes, births and deaths in our life, and we find that what this type of work, this type of expression of our involvement in our own selves and in our own culture, we realize what we don't know, and we realize what a commitment it is to pursue this, and trying to fit it in with work. Cheryl's an elementary school teacher. I work at an outpatient Indian health clinic, and I also teach a college instructor, and the kids are just students at school, and it's difficult to fit that time in, but it's real important to us, and we do, and we fit that time in. So we really appreciate events, an opportunity like today to come as a family, to have a nice space, to be around such beautiful objects and a supportive audience, such as yourself. And so, with that, let's move into the inside, and we'll see what. So what we have in here and other things. These are types of baskets that what I'm working on out there. These are just unpeeled versions of those types. These sticks still have the bark on them. This one is a combination of peeled and unpeeled, but it's the same twining process, same open work, same utilitarian types of things. And Cheryl and I use them when we go into classrooms, and talk about Central California culture or Northwestern California culture as the Yurapupa and Katuk people. In the cases, they're just small objects and smaller things that those there I have made. Most of those I have made. And there's just twining and willow and spruce root. That bag that's hanging in the center there with the abalone, that's something else that I'm very intrigued by. I'm intrigued. I love string, and you can see from my paintings that string is very much a part of its construction. And very early on in my art making, when I was doing what I wanted to do, I realized that string was like a three-dimensional line. It was like a drawn line. I can make marks with paint and graphite and what have you, but I can also make a linear statement with string of one sort or another. When I look at the cases that you see out there, when you look at the underlying structure for those feather capes, and you see the hair nets, you look behind the dresses, there are these linear qualities, and it's string. It's one giant long line. And that's always interests me. Sticks are the same way. They're it's a linear element that's happening. I look at those those types of elements with an artistic eye. And in the knit making process and that bag making process is the enclosing of a volume in one way or another. There's when the older basket makers would talk about making baskets, they talk about the materials, they talk about proper form and shape and proportion, and what they're talking about is how this physicalness is actually enclosing a non-physical shape in there as well. It's like they just kind of going around this invisible balloon, this invisible form. And it's really interesting, as you're working on a basket, you can feel that shape move, but you also know when it's just right, because it just, those sticks and stuff just stick right to it. It's also the same way with making the art pieces. In working them, I will have a variety of linear elements, string, twine of one sort or another. Some are too thick, some are too thin, that type of thing. And so you make adjustments so that it's going to be, it feels right. That bag is a replica of a Pomo Bride's bag, and Grace Carpenter Hudson has one in the Grace Hudson Museum that her husband had collected. And so I was fortunate to go into that collection and look at it, and then go away and make one. And I've got several more that I'm working on. And it's a looping, a knotless looping process. And I just really like the way that the string moves, the way it feels, the flexibility of it, and the sound. Once it's on and worn around the neck, it will it has a very elegant sound that is reminiscent of stars to me. You can see that off to the right side of the case there, those are doll baskets. There's a miniature Pomo-style doll baskets and then two other doll baskets there. That's the type of product that Koya will have at the end of his efforts there. There's a mush bowl that I made, a twine mush bowl, and that's what Cheryl was working on. Ruby's working on a small tobacco basket, which is over on that lower left there, with the bear grass, with the leather tongs that come up in time. It's a traditional Yurok, Karuk, and Pupa Tolowa container. It's considered to be utilitarian. It's a man's basket, and it's what they traditionally kept tobacco in. And some of the old people say, the old men say that a long time ago, a man would have 20 to 32 of them stuck around his house, because the tobacco is just gathered and then it's cleaned and rolled and it's stored in those baskets. It has a lid, and the lid comes off. They're very nice shapes and very nice containers, a variety of sizes. The show at the Crocker has the most beautiful tobacco basket, the one with that stepping pattern that goes up. And if you haven't been over there yet to see that show, that should be your next stop. It's just what we all aspire to and are inspired by. There in the shelf there, below the basket, there are below the bag, there are 3 small miniature tobacco baskets that I've made, twiny ones. There's a real tiny little baby rattle that doesn't have anything in it. The other baby rattles are underneath the fish trap here, next to the little coiled one. Those there are also scrap baskets. Those are tool baskets that we keep awls in and different types of things, whetstones and whatnot in our working process. Those are Koya and Ruby's. And those are split willow. And trying to make use of all of our materials. I save all of my scraps. And eventually my scraps get smaller and smaller, so my objects get smaller and smaller. And but I like that. I like saving and gathering them all up. In the cases, what we have here is, in the 3 cases, is regalia. And there was a death in the family of a very dear old man this year, and so all the regalia, as is prescribed by tradition, is resting. And so it will not attend any of the dances. So it's resting for 1 whole year. And so taking advantage of that to bring the regalia here. And the 2 dresses that are in here, there is a back portion, a long, wider back portion, and then an apron. This is the apron here, this is the back portion that I'll get out in a minute. These are rubies, these belong to Ruby. Cheryl and I made them. And this was her dress when she was about 5 years old, that she wore in the dance, her first dress. And of course, obviously she has outgrown it. It still attends the dances. And so smaller girls, smaller cousins and whatnot will wear this dress. There are very few small girl size dresses. Ruby wears that dress now. Cheryl and Ruby were responsible for sorting all the clamshell and the cedar berries, the little dark bead-like ornaments there, and sewing them on. Cheryl's handiwork with all the beads in the top of the apron there. I constructed the high parts. I also constructed the collar. And when they're the little girls, there's allowances for the little girls, and the girl that herself will allow herself allowances. As Ruby gets older, as the girls get older, the sense of modesty increases, and they need something else. They wear a lot of beads over it. The collar will go over and cover, and that was something that I had to figure out on my own as well. I always admired the Mojave collars, and so then I had to look and search around and find out if I could understand that process and then construct one myself. And after much thought and prayer, it came to me, and then that's what I constructed. It took me about 5 months to do that. The hair ties are here. This the cap in the middle there, that beaded cap, is incomplete. I'm working on it, and that's an experiment. Cheryl and I, along with the dance makers, our dance leaders, had an opportunity to go to the Phoebe Hearst downstairs. And so we went down into the collection downstairs, and although we were looking at Klamath River materials, I was going by and I happened to see Wailaki, from Round Valley. So it was very near, very close to home for me. I asked the gentleman if he could open the case, and actually it was a tray, a large drawer, and he opened it, and in there were 2 beaded caps, Wailaki caps, that I had never seen before. I had just never seen them. And there are descriptions of Wailaki basket hats, but I'd not been aware of these flexible beaded versions. And so I looked at them and tried to take as many mental pictures as I could, and then went home and began one. And that's as far as I've gotten with it. And those basket caps in the museum dated from the late 1800s. And so this could very well be the first one since that time. And so I've got 5 rows to finish on it at the bottom part. The dresses, of course, are very much to the girl, for the young girl. And these dresses and the photograph of Ruby there at the dance at Katamine, up near the center of the world for the Cutter people, was a place, after we constructed this dress in a year, that was the first place that this dress came out. No one had ever seen it. It was the first time that Ruby wore it in the morning dance there. And when the dresses, like we see in the cases out there, we see them in the cases here, we could admire the textural quality and its relationship to other to associated elements. But the important part of the dress is its sound, is its own song. And so this is, and that's why I asked Tom if we could just momentarily take it out, and you can see what it looks like. We rarely get an opportunity to to experience the dress like this. And you can see that it's very much a part of the dress. The dress literally, comes alive. And it, with the light catching on the various elements, the fringe and constant movement. And this is the back skirt. It will wrap around this way. That's the apron. The apron goes from side to side right here. And this wraps around. And so this will fit Ruby for probably a couple of years. And then we'll construct another. And she'll probably go through about 4 dresses during her dancing time. And we've collected the materials over a number of years. Particularly the baby clamshell and the cedar berries. Each one of these cedar berries had to be poked individually. And Cheryl sewed every 2 cedar berries on, if not every one on. And the clamshell money and grinding the abalone. And this is the back side. The fringe is individually put on. And it takes 3 deer hides to make one dress, this size. And you can see that this is the back side of that panel. And so Cheryl, in her own vision, on the back side of this, is that. Because there are dresses that come out, especially Hollywood dresses that are constructed in the same way, that are 100 years or more in age, that have this cloth area has been worn away. It's just tattered. It's just threadbare. So Cheryl, in her constructing of this, just honored that process of having a hidden, an element in the back part of it. It's heavy. The girls never set. Once they put their dresses on, the girls must always stand. They never set in these dresses. So they will wear the dresses for up to 3 hours. And so it's a matter of standing very straight and being there and representing your family. Well, this one here is commercially processed. Yeah, but not as commercially processed as others. Yeah, which is quite a chore to locate. The dresses travel. The dresses have. You can see the dress has a number of components, and the dresses travel in Samsonite luggage. And that is an image that I get to paint. At the dances in the girls' camp, there would be luggage. There's always luggage stacked underneath all the tables. And the women that are responsible for the girls' camp know all the regalia. They know who it belongs to, even all the old stuff. And so there's just a limited number of girls that can dance and young women that can dance. And so when the girls approach, when they're being dressed, then they can be dressed in family stuff. For Ruby stuff for the girls' camp, but Cheryl will also make stuff for the men's camp. And the smaller strips there, the sets, are headbands. These particularly are based off from a woodpecker band that the Palo call Minkenslag. And they have woodpecker scalps, 3 or 4 of them that move to the front there. And there are only 6 of those in existence that dance. And so we're always in search of that, and always in search of those woodpecker scalps and whatnot. And so Cheryl created these beautiful things. And then also the other ones there with the dance knife pattern, the red, black, and white, the red being reminiscent of woodpecker scalp. And in the dance, they will match 2 young men. And so, and with the sashes back there, and those young men will, when they come out and jump and do what's called jumping in the middle, the beads will catch the firelight and they'll just sparkle and whatnot, and they'll move. And they will only come out in the morning dance when all the dresses come out and stuff, and all the regalia comes out. The large sashes there are for singers, and they will go over the right shoulder, front and back. The beaded portion stays in the front, goes over all the necklaces and whatnot. There's abalone and dentalia money and woodpecker scalp stuck up in there. Cheryl did the beaded portion on a loom, and then I sewed it, and I sewed the other pieces as well. And then there's above that is the sister series of my images, my paybacks for those 5 women. On this for Denise Davis, and Denise has a tray in the Crocker basket show, a very beautiful tray of maple and redbud, and then the centerpiece here is for Judith Lowry. Denise is Maidu, Judith is also Maidu, and Judith is a painter, and Judith has some work at the Solomon Dubnik Gallery right now. She had an opening last night. And just wonderful, wonderful stuff. Very large images. And these images are from her own family's history. And oftentimes they're exploring very recent memories of family in the military, different types of things. But she's also done the female version of Coyote and various type of elements of Native American people in these settings of trying to find our way at the end of this century into the next one. And next to it is the painting for Lynn. It's the Deer Girl, Lynn Risling. Lynn Risling is a painter. The Cutted women's cultural arena. I did this Deer Girl painting for Lynn to really thank her and Julian they put on this play, and it was called Deer Girl. And the play is a traditional story, and that dramatization was performed in mime by the Del Arte troupe in Blue Lake in Humboldt County. And Lynn and Julian narrated the event completely in Kuduk, in the Kuduk language. There was no English. And it was just incredible. You could understand every word, and it was just the most incredible thing. The story about Deer Girl is there's Deer Woman, and of course she has a daughter, the young deer, and she makes acorns, and she makes the very best acorns, and there's a secret. And then there's a jealous, resentful female character of Shrat, the blue jay. And she wants to find out how Deer Girl is able to make the best tasting acorns for the husband. And the husband has his own set of characterizations. He's over here and he's grumbling and he's growling around and whatnot. And he's got these women tending him right and left. And Shrat, she wants to be very much the apple of Smook's eye. And eventually what happens is Deer Girl then, she is kidnapped and she's taken to heaven. And in that celestial realm then, she visits with all the deer people. And they learn how important the deer people are to the life's activities on Earth. And then she travels back. They come back to Earth. And she is transformed into deer. And so our Native people's relationship to deer has this quality of knowing deer has gone to a celestial realm, learn of her own self and her greater self, and brought that back to the human beings. And so when we pray to deer, we watch deer's movements and whatnot. As a part of that, Deer Girl moved from girlhood to womanhood. And a very important part of that is the flower dance, and it's a puberty dance. Lynn and Julian, for Lynn's daughter, and Kim Moon just finished performing the Cutting Flower Dance, which hasn't been done in over 100 years, and a 5-day dance. And so this is very appropriate for Lynn. And then the final piece here is for Jean Lamar. And Jean is a printmaker and a videographer, makes films and this type of thing. And it's always, what struck me about Jean, the purple woman, she loves purple, so you will always see her in the crowd. If you see this very outgoing presence in the crowd, all dressed in purple, that's probably Jean. And what I admire about Jean and her contributions to Native California art and culture is that she is taking contemporary idioms of video and TV and everyday experiences, Columbus Day, that type of thing, but also about memories, family albums and pictures and images, and she combines them in a way that makes us question, about our own sense of where we belong in a lineage, where we belong in our own sort of culture, family culture, that type of thing. But with all this overlay, transparent roles of being a woman or a male, or being transplanted, or being an Indian woman, and that type of thing. And so what I wanted to do with Jean's image is to bring back a grandmother image that has this basket, that has this burden basket that is gathering. And you can see that what happens, with the exception of Dear Girl, but from the short description, that all these women are floating. And it's because it's just, there's a part of us, and I know that to be true for me in my own art making, is that there's a part that's not connected here. There's a part that, when I make my images of either the mighty women floating above the roundhouse at that time, that twilight time between daylight and night, or the Thursday night brush dance over here, when I reach to, I take my everyday experiences and I put it out there to something that is non-tangible, and I wait for that to connect, and that's always, it's never failed me, and it's always proved to be a very rich source for me, sustenance and also artistically, and I really believe that that's what the ceremonies are about. That's what making the regalia is about. It's the reason there is community. There's community beyond one's own individual self and our own family, and the greater community. It reaches out wide, because that's why Creator made us. We're all here for a reason, and we all have a very specific job to do. And our task can be made more clear if we just ask that it be made clear. And we're real fortunate. I'm real fortunate to be involved with the traditional staff, in that. And so that's what you have, in the room. So there's refreshments, food.
Okay. Yes.
Hey, how, how, Hoge Tag, vanavond gaat les.